Yeah, exactly, Robert. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Welcome, 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 everybody. It is Saturday, November 8th. November 8th, noon p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time it happens to be where you are, because you are watching us right now. It is time for Ask Us Anything, and this is a time where you get to ask any one of us in this room anything. And it's kind of like an open forum, but we ask that we do have some rules before we get started, like so that we keep everything all nice and neat. Let's say it that way. What we ask that you do is, if you have a question you want to pose, you can either put your question in the meeting chat, and we will ask it on your behalf, or you can raise your hand and specifically talk to the person you wish to speak with. I'm going to honestly say most of the time it's Robert, but there are other people here who do participate in the discussion. And that's very simple. Where you see my face, put your cursor in the middle of the screen. On the bottom, there'll be buttons. One of those buttons is raise hand. Click on that button, and we will call on you again in the order in which we receive your request. That's how simple Ask Us Anything is. And before we get started, I always like to share like a meme or a saying or something. And Robert, I loved what you shared yesterday. For those of you who did not see it, I want to share that because it's really, really good. Trade your expectations for appreciation, and the world changes instantly.
Yeah.
Think about that one, and it's awesome. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Of course, we give our first few words to the gentleman who is our visionary for unlimited wisdom. He is our GPS to success. He is our mentor, and most of all, our dear friend. Let's give it up for Mr. Robert Hollis.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for getting on here. And I see Matthew, probably Ezra in the back, or Hannah in there. And got Sarah, Lisa, Marie, Mary, TJ, Jamie, Kevin, Michael, Kevin, and Shauna. Hi, Melody. Hi, Scott. Deborah, Coach Bob, Arthur, Chris, Sandy, Bill, Michael, Angela, and CJ, the hostess with the mostest. Thank you very much, Craig. So yeah, welcome to the Ask Us Anything. I do usually come up with something at the beginning. I just want to let you guys know that we'll just be an hour today. Craig noticed a pattern that, I love watching UFC, and he is saying a couple times a month they start early, so at 2:00. So I'll be doing that. But the only thing that I want to say today is, like TJ just brought it up, what did Craig say at the beginning? And it's really was on my thoughts. I actually usually post what I posted in the past, but this one was in my mind. And it really is the whole concept of people live their lives with unrealistic expectations. A lot of you that know me for a long time, I love saying this subject because what we always want to do is, how many people are willing to admit that sometimes they try to control virtually everything in their lives? And it's like, there's, for people out there that really, have heard this statement. I love this statement, but it was going, if you really want to live a miserable life, then you need to just plan your life. So then God's got a sense of humor and he just messes it all up, So you can't do two things. You can't plan your life and then surrender your life. How many people know that's like really messed up? So when I heard this whole concept of unrealistic expectations, and what you need to do is just be in appreciation. It's funny that we all attract what we need in our life if we're open to it, if we're really, really open to it. And one of the things that I heard today, and it was funny because this guy goes, his whole life, he had learned from a lot of personal development people the art of manifestation. And he said, I really, really, really just wanted to manifest my entire life. And he said, so what really, really drove him crazy is he said he felt like what I've been sharing with a lot of people recently is that, the only way that the world gets better for us is if we personally do something different. Right. So we're doing I am statements, or we're journaling, or we're writing a gratitude, every day, or we're, reading, the God memorandum before we go to sleep, or we're doing a certain amount of time of prayer or meditation. And I believe that each and every one of us always has a great intention and an expectation that we can do that, and then we stop doing that. Can I get an amen or an amen? So if any one of you worked on personal development and you came up with this ritual that you were going to do, and then you find out I stopped doing it. And so am I the only one that does that, or have you done that? And so this is recently where I seen this clip. And the guy goes, the older I got, I realized that the really, truly only thing I wanted in life was just peace. I just wanted peace in my life. And he goes, I didn't want to have any thoughts whatsoever about when something was going to happen, or how why and this hasn't happened, or why this person's not doing this. And as soon as I heard it, that's when I started looking for that clip. I mean, that deal. Because what we do all day is we always, not everyone, but I would say a majority of the people are always got in their mind expectations of what they expect to happen. And right away, if they let themselves down because they expected to have a good day because they said they were going to call X amount of people, or they were going to message X amount of people, well, then all of a sudden your day is like messed up, that sometimes turns into a week messed up, that turns into a month messed up, that turns into a lifestyle messed up. And it's always this unrealistic expectations that we actually have control over our lives. Right? And so if you look at the opposite, which I've always had from my mentors, they've always shared with me, usually when you're really, really looking at something, what is the exact opposite of that? And the exact opposite of that is not what the world teaches us to do. Is what if you were in love with yourself? What if you were peaceful with yourself? What if you were in joy of yourself? So if you had peace of mind, and you had joy in your life, and you had appreciation in your life, then what you realize that you're doing is you're getting rid of all expectations, and you're also in a mental place where you're stopping resistance to what's supposed to happen in your life. And so this guy said this. He said, as soon as I started realizing that each and every day I needed to figure out how I could just be peaceful in my life, then everything that I before imagined as far as wanting the manifestation actually came to me effortlessly. So how many of you, when you hear that, you go, huh? Because you guys know how hard I work on myself. And, I've really, really worked hard for the last, 40 years. I'll just round it up. It's 39 years. So 39 years, I've really, really worked really hard on this thing called personal development, and understanding all this stuff to be a better communicator, and be really, really good at building my confidence and belief in myself, and all of these skills that you learn, right? And when you realize that in a world that, there's people that I'm still meeting each and every day that seem to have their life going very, very well, but they haven't worked as many hours on their personal development as me. You know what I mean? And so when you see people that all of a sudden, just in a blink of an eye, it seems like they're successful, and they're really just at peace of mind. They're letting go and letting God, and they're just very peaceful knowing that everything's going to be okay. So it's just most of the thing is just like, hey, you know what? Here, God, you take care of it. You said that you would do it. I'm just gonna, just trust you, and let's see what happens. And here's why I'm bringing that up before we go into Q&A. Is you really realize that you're not really a person in that kind of peace and appreciation when you're waiting for something, right? So a lot of you that know my life right now, there's a lot of things that are happening that people are like, okay, what's happening and why is this happening? And I don't know quite what to do. And now all of a sudden it's like I got to wait until the 15th in this webinar to find out what's the next move. And when you really think about a lot of things, you're waiting on others to sort of tell you what to do. That's when you really realize that you're not at peace. And I'm telling on myself, I'm not making fun of you guys. I'm just telling on myself. It's like I get up in the morning and after my prayer time and time to get, energized and connected. And it's like, now what? What am I supposed to be doing right now? Well, and it's like, it's really, really hilarious when you don't have a clear path in front of you. You know what I mean? And so I don't think it's by accident that I'm getting these messages that, wow, you say that you're letting go and letting God, but it's like, no, I need to control this part of my life. I need to control this part of my life. I gotta, it's like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. And so this concept of surrender, I know that Bill has said statements, people that are, in AA or anything that deals with any kind of addiction, it's like, isn't it amazing when you hear people do that? It's like the very first thing that they realize and they have to realize is first, I'm something that I can't control. Right? You can't change what you don't acknowledge. And then as soon as you say, okay, I'm Robert Hollis and I'm a workaholic, right? Then there's this prayer that you just say, I need to surrender. I need to surrender. And surrender doesn't mean that you get pissed off because you can't control things. So then what you do is, how many people know that we all do this? So we get angry because we're out of control. Does anybody get angry when things don't go the way they're supposed to, right? And then you get a little pissed off. And then after you get a little pissed off and angry, then you basically start telling the world of what you expect. Like, why didn't someone call me and tell me that this is happening? And then we take it all personal and we do this victimhood thing, right? It's like, well, what do they expect us to do? Well, why doesn't someone tell me what's going on? And why didn't they do it this way? Have you guys noticed that people that are control freaks, there's no one that ever can do anything exactly the way they expected it to be? And so now you all of a sudden got this deal where you get upset. And then I see people that actually get upset. So they're mad. They take it personal. So then what they do is they do something that, well, I'm just going to go with this company because you guys are not doing it the way that I would like you to do it. So I'm just going to go over here and join this company and this company and this company, because what they're looking for is the perfect company. And if they use their unrealistic expectations when they join another company, they're going to do this loop, right? So all of a sudden, that company is not doing what it's supposed to be doing when they said they were supposed to be doing it. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. That is, it's easy to say, and it's harder to do. to just relax, be at peace, and be appreciative, really, really appreciative. Not getting political in any way, shape, or form, but Terry booked I booked a ticket for Terry to go see Ezra. You know what I mean? And we get up this morning, her grandson, and we get up this morning, and Delta basically said we canceled your flight, and they already told us on TV that they were going to do that, right? And it's funny that Kyle comes out and I said, well, mom got her flight canceled. And he said, can you imagine being in a traffic controller job right now, wondering how you're going to pay your bills, including rent and feed your family, but you got to have all your attention toward making sure that planes don't hit each other? It's like, so me and mom were saying, so Terry said, I did feel pretty nervous about going. And it's like, well, why don't we wait and book a ticket and when people are being paid? You know what I mean? Now, I know that a lot of people have heard a lot of things, so we all could say whose fault it is, but who cares? It still doesn't change the consideration. So it's like, hey, I just would think that people need to be paid. So I hope a bunch of people that are acting like they're grown-ups, but they're acting like kids in a playground. I just wish that when the government shut down, I just wish they wouldn't get paid. Warren Buffett said it best. Warren Buffett said, you want to balance the budget? I'll show you exactly how fast we can balance the budget. Is that the people that are elected in office, if they don't balance the budget, they don't get paid. If that was the only law that was passed, then it would be, wait a minute, I want to get paid. This needs to happen right now. And so, we're gonna answer some questions, and I love and appreciate you guys. And I don't care what questions you ask. Even though this is spun off from Unlimited Wisdom, if you guys have questions about any companies or anything, I'm here to answer those questions. Ask us anything.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robert, for sharing that. And we have two hands up already. Again, we're going to try to get through as many as we can until the top of the hour. So just as a reminder. All right. Let's see. Hands up first was Sarah Lipscomb, but so that means Deborah Grady, I saw your hand. You're coming up. So Sarah, why don't you go ahead, turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, and let's get to it. Please open up and share. There she is.
Hi, Sarah.
Okay. Hi. I don't know what's going on with this problem with me lately, but first of all, I wanted to let you all know that Jody's great aunt was admitted to the hospital yesterday.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Jody and I were going to do this interview at 1 and we had to cancel. So she's so good. I mean, she had a recording on for me to talk and telling me that this had happened. So I said, wow, Jody, you're so good with this stuff. And so she's really beside herself because this aunt seems like her mother. She says she's like a mother to her. But when I spoke with her last night, she had come home from the hospital. They're waiting results of a test. It seems that she had collapsed lungs, but
Ooh.
we'll find more about that later.
Well, Sarah, thank you for sharing, and I pray that God's will be done. I hope everything is great, and please keep us updated for sure.
Yeah, of course, I put the prayer request on Eric's page,
Okay.
so that's good. We all be praying for her and keeping her and her mom lifted up because she's very special to all of us, right?
Amen. Amen, Sarah.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say is looky here.
Wow. Nice. Nice. Nice.
So I'm gonna love this on my walks in the morning, right? And it is so beautiful here. The weather is really good here today. It's almost too warm for this, but I'm not complaining. So you all know that I live in Prince George's County, right outside of Washington. You were talking about the government. So
Right.
one of my sons worked with Homeland Security. In fact, he works for the Department of ICE. Daughter-in-law works for GSA. So this area is really, really compacted by the shutdown because most of the
Mhm.
people in Prince George's County where I live work for the government. I mean, so we'll keep that in prayers and everything lifted up.
Yes.
But Robert, I guess your neighbors we will be really glad to hear that Delta canceled your flight, right? You know the one who
Yeah.
told you he hated.
It's one of those things that I don't know. It's like I think a lot of us sometimes laugh at ourselves when we make it. What's that statement, Sarah? We make mountains out of molehills. You know
Yes.
what I mean? But sometimes I look at the stuff that I get upset about, and it's like I'm going like, geez, I seem like a little kid myself sometimes.
Yes.
Hey, appreciate but don't have jobs. We can, if they moved our flights one day or another, we could make them flexible. Everything's fine. And it's like, again, come from a place of, gratitude and appreciation instead of expectations.
Well, being around in this environment, the years that I have been, has shown me, I already knew it, but it's really hit home now how important it is to not to have to depend on a job. I mean, but
Oh
because it
man.
hasn't changed your life a lot, right?
No,
This
no.
little flight thing is just a minor inconvenience.
I've always told people too, how many of you people know people that it doesn't make a difference what happens in the world. It's definitely the president's fault, you know? And so, I'm 63 years old and I've been telling people ever since I've been an entrepreneur, whoever was in office, my income went up.
Right.
Yeah, Republican or Democrat. And it's like, so, I'm really happy when Bush was in office, and I was really happy when Obama was in office, and I was really, really happy when ever the next person gets in office. It was like, and so it is pretty hilarious. One of the times around my mentor, he said this statement. He said, "The White House has nothing to do with my house." And
Okay.
there's still a lot of people out there that what's happening right now. I still feel for other people. I still have empathy and love
Right.
and compassion for other people that are going through struggles. And so, but yeah, it is neat to have real freedom. The one that I always loved is my mentors would always say these stories about, listen, you're free. Just make sure that you're not late for work. And I'll tell you how long you get a break, and I'm going to tell you when you get
To go to
breaks.
lunch.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you how long you get lunch, and then I'll let you know when you can leave.
Yeah.
And so you're free. Don't forget that you're free. You just need to do what I tell you to do.
I have a grandson who drives the metro subway trains and buses. He works for the metro. So that's considered as a really, really good job here. But I mean, you have to show up every day on time. He loves what he's doing, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's fun when you always. I always tell this story too. When I first got involved in being an entrepreneur, and I'm looking for people that need to make money, right? And I went to a mall in Sherman Oaks. I would always go to the food courts and find people. And there was this Latino guy that was mopping the floor. And I mean, the amount of energy that came off of this guy was just like contagious, his enthusiasm. And he was whistling and going about his deal. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hi, how are you?" And I said the words, "How are you?" And he goes, I'm the happiest person on the planet right now. He said, "I just had a baby boy, my first child, and my wife is healthy and my son is healthy." And he
Oh,
and he's just like going, "Man, I'm just so blessed." And I
hmm.
was going, "I need to leave this guy alone." It's got to be another timing when I can tell him about how great my business opportunity is. But I just felt right there. I said, "Well, thank you for making my day better." And he goes, "Hey, anything I can do for you?" And I'm like going, "He already did it." It's just like he's just looking at the little things in his life and being so happy and grateful for those and appreciative for those. And sometimes we all need to do that. That was a nice lesson for me.
Yes. So I'm not very much on talking and telling people, but I am more like try to express and show. I'm really doing some things with my Facebook now, paid posting and everything. But like I told you, but that's going to be my lead in and my trail to school.
Yeah,
So yeah. So I'll probably put this video on my page too.
I love this video.
Ah,
You look gorgeous. So
thank
yes,
you.
you bet. Well, I love and appreciate you so much.
I love and appreciate you and your family. I used to send all the comments. God, I was so amazed. I said, Matt, this is before he got into AI. I said, that little young man has too much wisdom. But he grew up around you. What do we expect?
Well, I say that he grew up around his mother. You know what I mean? The joke has always been, uh, I got common sense. She's got street smarts.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a good combination. That's
It
the
is.
point. That's a very good combination.
It definitely is. It's like Terry's always one of those people that the thing that I think I find most enjoyable about her is that even if I get caught up in some stuff that I shouldn't be caught up in, the funniest thing is always I'm going, wow, did you hear that? And she's like, no. That's usually the first response is no. And I if I mess up and go, well, what do you think about that? She goes, I don't.
I saw a post that Terry put on there the other day. It was so soft and mushy and lovable. I wanted to say, "Now wake up, now, girl. What's going on? You, this,
She probably just watched a video of Ezra. Matt sends us videos of Ezra doing his cooing and trying to tear all the toys apart that are on his little deal. And so
he just
I
melts, right?
yeah, I think Ezra's softening her up a little bit.
Oh,
Well, thank you, Sarah. I love you.
thank you, Robert. Love you too.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks. The same to you.
Sarah, thank you very much. And before we go to Deborah, Sarah, gave me a great opportunity to share our merchandise page. And that hoodie looks great on you.
I know. You can see. Can you picture me out on the trail?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, showing off your UW right there.
Yeah, because when I'm out, I have my music on. Part of the time I'm dancing, walking. So I'm known as the dancer. So they will see, well, they've seen I have all of the CBD shirts over a period of time.
And we know some people here also have unlimited wisdom merchandise. So just a reminder, let's go ahead. I'm gonna bring that up. There it is. There's our webpage. It's bonfire.com/store/unlimited dash wisdom. I did post the link in the chat here in the Zoom chat. But we got some great merchandise to share. We got t-shirts. There's the hoodie right there. There's the crew neck sweatshirt. We've got the new How Do You Know That shirts. Stop Wishing, Start Living mugs. We got some other teas and mugs. And we got the hats. This nice pink hat we've seen on Lisa Marie. Robert has the early edition of the black baseball cap, and as I have the newer one. We also have the bucket cap. We got more things, and Matt has already said that coming up we are going to have the autumn or fall collection out soon. So go ahead and check it out. Again, the link is in the chat. We love and appreciate you and help to spread the word here.
Thank you. Thank you
to
so
grow
much.
our amazing community. Yes, agreed. So now that we've done the commercial, Let's go ahead and move right along to Deborah Grady. Deborah, there you go. Unmute yourself and please share with us.
Hi, everyone. I was thinking the same thing, Greg. I was like, oh, but actually, what I was thinking is, can I do that in my own school? Have my own merchandise? You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm like, oh my gosh. So if I sold Etsy, if I could sell it there instead of selling on Etsy or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
all you got to do is talk about it and share the link. A lot of people,
yeah.
make things so difficult.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know. I
yeah,
learned more about school from you guys than I do from reading all the information, trying to learn it. I'm
right.
trying to learn it on my own. But anyway, but before I even start, I just want to tell everybody thank you for giving TJ, my new friend. I just met her a couple months ago in a company we both joined at the same time. But I just wanted to say thank you for welcoming her, and I'm so glad that she's here. I'm so excited that she's here with us. I told her how wonderful you guys are. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share that. But I do have a question that I have to
Okay.
ask that I need to just get out there. So, when people join us here at Unlimited Wisdom, does it matter what company they work for, or what affiliate marketing or network
No,
marketing they're with? It
no,
does not matter. Okay.
no.
I
Where
just,
unlimited wisdom is something that was a whisper from God for me 24 years ago. And it was funny because it was me being in a transition from one company to not doing it. I really wasn't going to another company. And what it was is I just didn't like what the owners were doing and they wasn't being ethical. And I basically told them if they didn't change what they were doing, I was going to walk away, and they didn't change. And I was number one in the world for 3 years with that company.
mhm.
I don't even mind saying it was called ACN. Um, and people that I trained in another company owned it. And I sold my distributorship for $1 and walked away. And so at that time, all the stuff that I knew that would help people believe that they're a miracle, to be in love with themselves, that, I truly believe that if we love ourselves, we can love others. And if I could just, and I just couldn't see it. I didn't have faith in myself and believed that if I just built a network and a community of just people being people that all love to support and help each other, and just everyone learn to imagine a better future for them and their family, regardless of what they're doing. And I just didn't have the courage to do it. I just didn't. And a couple of years went by, and I tried to do some attempts of starting my own companies, and then just had one failure after another, and then ended up getting involved in network marketing again. It just blew up, and so I'm so it's like that's what I've always wanted. I always wanted a community of people, and unlimited wisdom is just, all of us combined, because we all got different knowledge and wisdom and life stories from all different avenues. And so this time I decided to do it. And so thanks for asking that question because yeah, anybody can be. The only thing that we emphasize is just like the things in there is a lot of people when they get in, the very first thing they start doing, and you guys see that, and we got to ban these people, is they, as soon as they get in, they're all about self promotion. It's all about, here, you need to be a part of what I'm doing. You need to buy what I'm buying. You need to join my school. It's just like, people just, and Craig, thank you very much for doing that. I didn't even know how to hook that up. But all new people now that joined, it asked them those three questions. Do you agree, not to do that? But, there's some people that click yes on it and then they still do it. So if any one of you whatsoever, feel like you're getting solicited by somebody, there is a place to click on the three dots and report them. And we'll get them out of that group as fast as we can. And I know there's some people, if you don't if you don't really know what self-promotion is, I have a really fast way of sharing with you what self-promotion is when you're writing something and as you describe it, as nice as you're trying to be and as much as you want to help people, you're asking them to click on something that takes them away from unlimited wisdom. All right. So usually in self-promotion, you're like, hey, check out my group. Hey, check out my YouTube channel. Hey, check out my company website. That's when you know it. And it's very difficult for people because in their heart, they're going, I think that I'm in the best company in the world. And I think that the products that I market are the best in the world. So why wouldn't you want me to help people? And it's like, we just don't want unlimited wisdom to be that way. And I'll tell you guys another one too. It's pretty interesting. Is I know that a lot of you have gone to celebrations of some kind. Say they're a high school reunion or maybe a college reunion or a family reunion. Don't you think it's interesting when you go to a place like that? You really don't care what other people are doing for a living. You just want them to be happy, right? But it always seems like you have one family member there that wants to get everybody into an business opportunity. And it's like there's some people that went, listen, I came here to, meet family or meet people that I went to school with, and I'm not interested in being pitched on a business opportunity. Or, buy my product is the best thing since sliced bread, so thank you for that question, Deborah. That's very, very important. So yeah, everyone welcome. Everyone welcome.
Yeah, yeah, well, some of us didn't get the basics from the very beginning and don't know the history and background. So, even myself, I kind of wondered about too. It's like, because there's a lot of things going on that are going to happen November 15th. And I mean, fortunately, I belong to that company, but I was like, what if I didn't? Would I be welcome?
Right. Thank
Yeah,
you for
so,
saying that. Yeah,
yeah.
there's I would say, especially when we made Unlimited Wisdom free, we're close to 500 people right now. I would say less than 10% of the people that are in Unlimited Wisdom are actually in a company called MDC or
Mm,
Akashics.
wow,
So it's 90% of the people that are in Unlimited Wisdom now, have nothing to do with those two companies.
wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And when the stuff happens on the 15th, you guys will see me making different announcements in different areas other than Unlimited Wisdom. Just because I started the community, I'm not going to self-promote in there. No way. I got to lead by example. So I will not be soliciting you guys.
Well, like I was taught, that's rude.
Yeah. I was always taught if you do it right, and especially on the spiritual side. A lot of people still don't know this about me, but some of the top people that I get credit for helping them build, and they give me credit for it as well, is helping them never have to work for anybody again and never. And all those people seek me out. I didn't seek them out. You know what I mean? So usually, where people watching me, what I'm doing, and they're like, "Hey, this is some of the imagination I have for my life. Can you help me with that?" And, I thank God that I just know how to do that very simplistic. There's a lot of people out there that teach a lot of stuff. And believe it or not, it's everything for me is exactly the same. It's very simply falling in love with whatever I'm doing based on testimonies and then using those testimonies to get other people to get that same kind of feeling in their life. So a lot of people don't know this, Deborah, and you probably have heard me say this. But in my past, one of the things that I was really known for outside of being an entrepreneur is filling brand new churches. So people would ask me to come speak so I could tell them how to feel comfortable inviting people to church.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
I'm
don't mind saying it really quick. So, what I would say to people is walk up to people and after you talk and say hi, just very simply say to them, "Oh, by the way, Deborah, do you know of anyone that would like more peace and more love and more joy, more connection in their life? Um, what is this? Why are you interested?
wow.
Well, what is it?" And then instead of a edification of a religion or a church, you need to do edification about a person. So I would say, well, Deborah, listen, I have a dear friend. His name is Arthur. This guy is just amazing. He's a great family man. I just love everything about him. And what I'd like to do is figure out a time where I can connect you with him and introduce you to him. See, I don't use me as a personal testimony.
Right, right. No.
And
Yeah,
so
oh
if
my
you,
gosh. That I mean
yeah,
that's just so cool how it just is the same thing. But
it and it works so well because everyone that believes in whatever they believe, the reason that they don't, which we were talking yesterday about fear, right? But the reason that people don't share their personal testimony is because sometimes they just are beating themselves up, right? So it's like, listen, I can tell you what religion I am, but if you really look at my life, I really suck at all the principles of that religion.
right.
I know all this stuff. I'm just not practicing any of it. And so, because they don't do that, then they feel hypocritical. So, the last thing that they want to say is, I ask you if you know anybody. And then they go, well, how long have you known Arthur? What are you doing with your life? See what I mean? And that's when I'm saying, listen, it's really not about me. And then I tell other people's stories. So everyone that's known me since I got into this, it was just a way that became authentic for me to ask people, and because I'm not trying to bait and switch them. You know what I mean? I there's a interview out there with me and Ray Higdon, and Ray Higdon tells people straight out, asking people to do a favor for you is not authentic, so you shouldn't do it. So here I am at his house, as Sabrina's got to be probably, 11 or 12 years old, but I was there for the baby shower. And so he interviewed me and he goes, Robert, you've built these large organizations and everybody's, how do you do it? And so I explained to him how I did it. And he's going, I've never heard of it explained that way. And then he looks right at the camera and he's going, I've told everyone that ever followed me not to use this technique. But the way that Robert's doing it, it makes total sense to me. And of course, I always use like parables and stuff. So I was using the example of his wife, right? And I said, so if I called up Jessica and said, while I was in Florida, I seen something that my wife would love and I couldn't stop myself from buying it, but it's too big to put on an airplane. So I was wondering if you could do me a huge favor, Jessica. Do you know of any place where I could store this until I get back here to properly ship it? And Jessica would say, well, why don't you just put it in our garage? See, so if I said to her, I bought something that I can't put on a plane and I don't have time to ship it because I just bought it, can I put it in your garage? See, that's the way people do. They do direct. And people like, that's pretty rude to ask to store something in people's garage. It's like that's. But a lot of people do it that way. So when I said that to him, he goes, that's exactly what Jessica would say. And I said, but understand, I didn't do it through manipulation. And that's where people that do, hey, do me a huge favor, check out my opportunity. I want your opinion. No, they want to try to get you in what they're doing. So that's not authentical. The authentic, that's bait and switch. That's manipulation,
Hmm.
you know? And so, yeah, when I started teaching churches, one of my favorites to talk about is Creflo Dollar in Atlanta. When I met him, I was part of the um, 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 Come on, hit me. I don't need to go there. But it was such a small church, and out of Conyers, Georgia, and then we had wires ran to a basketball indoor basketball place where he had the rest of the people. And so I started teaching this stuff because there was another with the audios that I tell people watch by the word. That's from Bishop Sweely. And so we took this small congregation. Well, Jim Swilly started like in a hotel room. And by the time we got done, which was 2 short years, there was 8,000 people that were sitting in a brand new building. And Creflo Dollar went from World Changes Ministry, went from a small church to a giant dome. I think the dome was over 10,000 people. And so, when you get a lot of people that are supposed to be excited about their faith and what can happen with their faith, but also feel comfortable inviting others to go check it out. And again, just like the video I talked about yesterday, the fear is like, what if I turn around and they ask me, so how is it working for you? Which in business, they're like, well, Deborah, would you mind showing me what you've made in the last 3 months?
No way.
See what I mean? And so everyone's always worried about getting asked these questions, and that stops us from, sharing it with people. And so you got to find a way to be able to do that. And so, yeah, there you go.
Oh, oh, now I got to find out, when was this? Before your accident? When were you doing this with the churches? How long ago was that?
Oh, believe it or not, that was my first years of my very first years of network marketing. There was, I was I went through a lot of foster homes when I was young. And so, one of them was Native Indians, so it was like an Indian sweat tents. And then there was another family that was Catholicism, Catholics. And then there was another family that was Lutherans. And so, when I first moved out to California and then I got hurt, then all of a sudden I got involved in multi-level or being an entrepreneur. I was constantly seeking, you know. And at that time, I thought the way for me was being attached to a religion, and the more that I got attached to it, the faster I'd work my way up to try to talk to the people that were in the inner circle, and then all of a sudden I would find out, this doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I don't understand. So, it was that constant me looking for all this stuff. So it was Hagen Ministries, the one I couldn't remember.
Oops.
And so there was this bunch of people that were Joyce Myers. There was Joyce Myers and Kenneth Copeland and Creflo Dollar and Jerry Savelle and Jesse Duplantis. It was all these people that they just seemed to me at that time, they really fed me. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they didn't, which usually ends up being everything in life.
Yeah,
I now
yeah.
look I now look at spiritual stuff and religious stuff and personal development stuff. Even business is there's a reason there's kindergarten and then there's elementary school and then there's middle school and then there's college and then there's continuing education, right? And I here's a funny meme that I seen the other day that I told Terry is that I felt this way when I got out of college, right? So I was an automotive engineer and I'm sitting down with a guy and he's going, I hope you understand this. He says, everything that you learned is not what we do here. And I said, I was told that by my professor. He told me that everything that I work on once I left here is going to be so much high tech than the stuff that I learned on. And I'm totally okay with that. But here's what's funny is the meme said, the guy said, I just need you to know that everything you learned with your degree is not applicable to this job. And he goes, that's awesome because I don't have a college degree. And he goes, well, you can't work here unless you have one. So it was like everything that you learned in college is not applicable here. Well, that's great because I didn't go to college. Well, you need a degree to work here. It's like, what? But it is pretty funny. I seen Sarah's put down here, and some of you guys are resonating with this. But if you guys ever want to watch a funny one, go to YouTube and put in Joyce Myers, and then I got to get this right. It's a husband mall.
Mm.
The story is about a husband mall. Do you guys want to hear it? I got it, man. So women, don't get mad at me. All right. Maybe I should let her tell it. But no, the whole story is about women are looking for the perfect husband, right? So all of a sudden this big thing opened up and it said, the perfect husband mall. And so the women all go to this mall and they go on the first deal. And it's like, the guys here are just good guys. They're just average good guys. And so the women walk around the bottom floor of the mall and then they see a sign and it says, hey, listen, if you go to the next level in the next part of the store, like Nordstrom's or whatever, there's better husbands up there. And it's like, well, why ain't I going to go up there? So when they go up there, the people up there are good men, but they have a full-time job. And people are going like, well, a good average guy with a good job, that's a better husband. And then there was a sign that talked about going to the next one. And it said, but the men up here are also very attractive. They're handsome. And it's like, well, why not have a guy that has a good job and he's handsome? And so they go up to that floor. And then the next floor was, he's also romantic and he's a very good listener. And so the moral of the story is women kept going to the upper floor to find a better husband. And then the last time that they went up there, the last floor was like, there's absolutely no perfect men. So there's no men on this floor. Moral to the story was that women have a tendency of always saying, I guess the best way to say it again is just, Terry's not this way, but maybe she is. And the whole concept is just more. Women would just like more. I don't see any problem with that. And then, guys are usually noticed as people that will settle. They'll
Hey,
settle too much.
hey, I come from Eve. She wanted more.
Yeah.
It's just in our DNA. Sorry about that.
But I see that Craig found it and posted it. I'm sure she's going to tell the story a lot better than I do. But I used to. Let me finish it all up by saying this. Sometimes in life, to be a leader, if you want to be a leader, you have to be a really good follower. And so there was just times in my life where I was just fed more by following somebody that I admired and what they were doing and learning from them before I felt like I wanted to step into the place of leading. I love Melody. She's like, where's this mall at? See, Melody's smart enough from the story. She would stop on the floor before the top one. You know what I mean? But I really, really appreciate it. But thanks, Deborah. You and a lot of the people that are part of this always pull some great stuff out of me. So we got Arthur. We'll finish off with Arthur. So thank you, Deborah.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I love you so much.
I love you too so much.
Deborah, thank you so very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, we love it when Robert gets into these downloads. There you go. All right, Arthur, thank you for your patience. You'll be the last one up today, so please unmute yourself and share with us.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, Arthur, how are you?
Doing good. Well, we just booked a couple hours ago, but I wanted to
Yeah.
ask a a follow-up question, I guess, to our
Sure.
conversation. So, for everybody else that we were talking about how people start things, and this is like with any business or endeavor that they're after. They are excited and they have the mindset and the vision of succeeding. If somebody else can make $200,000, then why can't I? And then somewhere along the way, um, people lose that vision or lose that enthusiasm and they fall back. So, I mean, this has happened to me too in my life,
Me
whether it was
too.
car sales or real estate.
Yep.
I shot up, like, had a lot of success. Um, and, it's like when you get into the business, you get jaded sometimes, or people wrong you, or people steal money from you, at least in my experience. And so
Mine
that's what,
too.
like, I think that's like what was my downfall in like some of these areas of my life is just having those arrows shot at my back and
Right.
being afraid. But so I guess the first part of my question was, what is it? Do you think it's that stops people and brings them back where they lose that enthusiasm?
Yeah. Great question, by the way, Arthur. Just great. I'll tell you what it is. Is people fall out of love with their imagination of where they seen themselves becoming. That's all it is. Um, I see this with relationships, right? So when both male, female, when they're both in the pursuit of the imagination of this almost like fairy tale relationship, right? It's amazing how single focused they can become. You know what I mean? Like it's everything's around. We always talk about people that get in relationships in their honeymoon period, whether they're married or not. But it's like people are so caught up in the imagination of what they would love that relationship to be. And then, you get married and it's like all of a sudden you hear everyone talk about, well, how do you keep that energy? How do you keep that romance? How do you keep that, thing going? It's like all of a sudden it's like it just doesn't seem to be as fulfilling. And you'll always will hear this is that in most things in life, even being an entrepreneur, it's the journey that's exciting. It's actually the adventure of the journey and trying to make that happen. And so in my life, with all the trophies and plaques behind me, I've really noticed that when all of a sudden it's like I wanted to hit super affiliate, so I'm there. And it's like a million, million or 5 million, and I'm there. You know what I mean? And so what we have to do is we constantly have to reinvent our imagination and fall back into that journey of whatever we're doing, right? And so that's where people lose their enthusiasm. And Arthur, if you break that word down, enthusiasm is from the core word enthesos. And enthesos means God within. It's like that little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And we always can see people when they're in that enthusiasm part because it's like that's when you attract everything, all the stuff that you need, people, resources, everything. When we're in that vibration or energy of being authentic, of really truly believing that we will become what we imagine, that the lifestyle that we're having, that will do that. And see what happens with people is they stop looking at that imagination and they start looking at everything around them and they say this is why they're not getting the imagination. So now, a person, if I went back to the relationship, they now look at their spouse or whoever they're in a relationship with and they start picking them apart. And they're like, well, you're not this, and you don't do this, and you don't do that, and you don't do this. Now, the majority of the thoughts about that individual are not good, they're status quo or just survival. See what I mean? And now it's like I got to put up with this. It's like this is not what I imagined a relationship to be. And it's always that the person usually wants the other person to change instead of them going back to be the person that would make them want to be better. See what I mean? And so whenever you find someone that's like me, for instance, because my imagination is still the same one that's made me all this money and all this fame and all this fortune, is this idea of what would it be like, because I tracked down three individuals that did it, and what would it be like and what would it feel like to have 1 million active people in my organization? 1 million active. And I got that to 758,000. And so I'm still chasing that imagination. And every time things switch, for me, instead of being change, it's like I almost feel like I made this happen. That's how big my ego is. So it's like, wow, if this is not going that way, and this is not going that way, and this is not going that way, then I need things to be different to make that happen. And it's pretty wild when all of a sudden I see things around me that I thought would never, ever, ever change. All of a sudden start morphing into what they need, right? And that's also being in a place throughout my career and my life where I'm okay with letting go and watching doors and windows shut so other doors and windows can open. And I've talked, very honestly about my resistance to that, even though I'm imagining it and hoping for it. It's like everybody's like, hey, this is the imagination of what I want in my life. And then all of a sudden, I'll be bold enough I just got this one. Of course, when I first got married, at 20 years of age with a son on the way, um, I said these stupid statements. I was going like, I'm sure not going to be like my mom and dad and be alcoholics that beat up each other, and so they got a divorce. I'm sure not going to be like them until, my wife wakes up and looks at me and she says, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And I'm going, well, you're not going to take my son. And she goes, I don't want him. So I did have an imagination of what my life would be like today. But during that time, that wasn't very fun. Like, and I look at pictures of me, standing in front of a church, being married at the age of 20, going, who in the hell is that guy? That guy has That guy's so clueless. It's ridiculous. Him getting married is like stupid. But that's what you did in those days. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I hope that makes sense. So if you know people that seem lost on where they want to go, because I will say one more thing before I go. It's some people have an imagination of what they would love their life to be. And then sometimes they're trying to take things that they're doing and vehicles that they're doing, and they're trying to force that into that imagination. And I'm guilty of that as well. So sometimes you got to sort of step back a little bit and go, all right, what needs to be different to make this happen? If this is the lifestyle that I want, my life's always been wrapped around freedom. Just freedom, 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 freedom. I constantly hear these phrases, work smart instead of hard. And whenever I feel like I'm putting too much effort in it or I'm putting too many hours and things are not clicking, I can tell that that's resistance. I can tell that I'm pushing instead of allowing. And that's when you sort of got to step back a little bit. Just, okay, what am I really honestly trying to do? Where am I actually trying to go? And so as an entrepreneur, I always say this to people. If I could, and I keep getting more simpler with this, Arthur, and I'm going like, okay, I want you to pick between these two. All right. This one, you're responsible for your income, and this one, you have 10,000 people responsible for your income. You know, and it's like that's what was said to me. And once I made that decision, that's been almost 40 years ago. It's like, so everything I'm constantly doing, including unlimited wisdom, is, you know, 500 is going to be better than 100. 5,000 is going to be better than 500. 50,000 is going to be better than 5,000. It's just always going to be where, and people keep asking me all the time, it's like, what could you do to make it more than 1% of people that are actually living their dreams? And that's one that I've given up on. It's like I used to believe that my knowledge and my wisdom and my training and who I am could help someone get there. Now I 100% believe that the person already had the imagination and I can get them there. But if they don't have imagination of becoming something greater for themselves and their family, all the training in the world, they can keep going through all the incredible training and books and stuff I can tell them, but when they get up in the morning, they still won't do anything.
Yeah, I agree with that, and you answered the other part of the question. But I think a lot of people they will get jaded, they lose their imagination, and then they will either quit entirely and go start something new with a different company or a different industry
Right.
altogether, which I've done. I mean, I quit
Yeah.
car sales, went into real estate. Um, but
You're absolutely correct. And that's human nature. So that's human nature. When you lose your imagination and enthusiasm, then what you do is you need to blame. You have to take what's around you instead of looking at yourself. You got to eliminate other things that are around you. And just like when I said you start picking apart the person that you're dating or married to, well, then they do that with a company.
yeah,
Like the funniest thing that I have right now, and I'm not beating anybody up, but I've had people reach out to me and ask me if I'm happy with where I am. And I'm going, absolutely. Are you kidding me? And they go, well, there's just been so many changes. And I said, so the answer to that is just to leave the company and change everything? And they don't know what to say. I'm going, so you're mad at the company because everything's changing. So your answer to that is just to leave the company and change everything.
I think people they see the path to getting to the vision and the end goal is changed. Like the road is no longer there, but they pivoted, but the vision is still the same. The path just changed.
Yeah, and believe it or not, if your imagination was there, I'll give you a quick example, and I'm looking at the clock. I gotta go. When if you really analyze people's success stories, you'll always see that the thing that they thought was going to be the end goal is not. That's a person that's in the journey and in the adventure. And the best one is sports, always sports, right? So I got into sports because I wanted to be a pitcher. Now all of a sudden you're in high school and there's some other people that are also very good pitchers. You see what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, if you want to be on the varsity team, unfortunately, you're going to need to be a shortstop. It's like, I'm going to be the best damn shortstop I can possibly be. See what I mean? You have people all the time that just all of a sudden go, my goal is to win a World Series. And if it started out as a goal as a pitcher, but now I'm a shortstop, the goal stays the same. And then what ends up happening when you're in the professionals is that sometimes you don't adjust as fast as you need to. And so, like, Arthur, listen, I know you know why I'm calling you in here, but we actually traded you to another team. That really, really sucks, but my imagination is still winning a World Series. So I always love where you see these people, like I always use this with my sons, but if you looked up on the internet what basketball players have won the most world championships, they're names that you don't know. They're names that you don't know, and it's not the Jordans or the Magic Johnsons. It's not the Kobes. It's these guys that were just like, seem like floaters. You know what I mean? like Ori. You know, when all of a sudden you see some of these people that got 8 rings, 10 rings, 11 rings, you see what I mean? Because their goal was to win world championships. They didn't need to be the starter or the star on the team. But they're the best damn guy off the bench. and they just keep moving. You know, they just keep going to this team. And then they won a world championship. And then they get traded to this team and they won a world championship. And it's like, you know, that's
At that
probably
point, wouldn't
not
you
that-
just say, at that point, wouldn't you just say I'm a good luck charm sitting on the bench?
Yeah. But when you hear some of these guys' stories and then you see some of our highlight reels, that's what really makes, like, Derek Fisher is another one of those people. But Ori was one of these people that always seemed to hit the right shot when he needed to hit the shot. You know what I mean? But he's not like a big scorer. He just scores when he needs to, when the team wants it. You know what I mean? But I'll leave you with that, Arthur. But yeah, great question. Really great question. And I always ask people all the time, what if the only thing is you just ask people very simple question. It's like, where do you imagine yourself in a couple of years from now? And you know as well as I do, 99% of the people are like, don't do much of that imagination stuff. And it's like, well, at least it's working for you. Yeah, I don't want to imagine myself in a better place. Well, it's it's working. You're very successful.
Like you're a ship out in the ocean with no rudder. You just go wherever the winds push you.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you being on here, Arthur. Terry and I was just talking today about you. So I said that we're chattering. He goes, where? She says, I haven't seen Arthur and some of this stuff. And I'm going, Arthur is one of the busiest people I know. That's what I keep saying all the time.
Trying to get less busy.
And maybe that shouldn't be something that you want coming out of my mouth. Maybe I was like, I'll say right now before we end, is Arthur has more freedom than anybody I know. Put that into existence.
Yes.
All right. Love you guys. Turn it over to you, Craig.
Arthur, thank you so much. What a great share. And this is what this is all about with Ask Us Anything. Just ask your questions, whatever they are, as Robert shared earlier. We'll come up with answers. Or at least, if not, we'll make them up, right?
Right.
Okay, so as we wrap up, there's a lot of things that we shared in the meeting chat. Go ahead in the meeting chat. If you want to save that information, click the 3 dots in the meeting chat, then click Save Chat. It'll download to your computer as we conclude today's Ask Us Anything. Shout outs to Sarah Lipscomb, Deborah Grady, Arthur Waino for participating. Big shout out to Matt Hollis. Matt, bless you and thank you. And Ezra for being our executive producers here. That helps the foundation keep things going. And of course, Robert, bless you, my friend. Thank you for sharing your amazing knowledge with us. And thank you for joining us. We've got things happening every single day of the week. Tomorrow is Master's Mind at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Please feel free to join us there. Got great stories to share. You want to be here. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, recess. It's just a nice open forum that we love to have, kind of like a coffee kind of thing, get together, that kind of stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Daily Wisdom with Robert Hollis at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Thursdays is Breakthroughs at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So you got our full schedule right there. Please join us. We love that you are a part of our amazing Unlimited Wisdom community, and we want it to grow and build, and you help us. So thank you so very, very much. As we conclude, just want to let everybody know that I'll be unmuting as we say so long. So be good to yourselves. Be cash. Bye-bye. Now I'm going to unmute so we can all say so long. Have a fantabulous weekend.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And Shauna,
Thank you.
nice to see you on here.
Good
Hi, Michael.
weekend.
Thank
Hi,
See you
you.
Lisa
tomorrow,
Marie,
Robert.
Bill, Arlene, Sarah.
Bye.
Arlene snuck in here. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Scott, Jamie, Matt, Ezra, Hannah, Deborah, Faith,
Hey, you know what? Make it. Have a good day.
Chris, Kevin, Coach Bob,
Bye,
Michael,
all. Have a great
Thank you,
weekend.
Robert.
Sheila,
Thank you.
CJ, and Arthur. Love you guys.
Have a good weekend.